Our concentration will be on that big Rosneft deal. My colleague Nisha Poddar caught up with Prashant Ruia, the head of Essar Group, who actually mediated this deal with Rosneft. And it is important to hear out Prashant Ruia himself speaking with Nisha Poddar on the details of this deal and what it does to the leverage of the Essar Group itself.
I don't believe, we really, I don't subscribe to this debt woes situation or story. We went out and made very, very large, capital intensive investments. We brought a lot of equity. And normally, for any of these transactions, about 1/3 of the investment comes in the form of equity. Some of the projects got into difficulty because of some of the regulatory problems which we have had. And that gave concern to the debt, effectively, of those projects.
Yes.
I do believe that many of those issues have been addressed.
Okay.
And yes, I mean, from a group perspective, we have once again demonstrated our ability to build projects despite all the problems one faces in the Indian context, grow these businesses, create value, and then monetize at the right time. So I hope we can. This is the second time we have done this. There was a similar transaction which we did a few years ago on the telecom side, where we kicked off a business. We were one of the first in the mobile mobile space. We started our service in New Delhi, built the business, went to Punjab, Haryana, etc. Then merged with Hutchison. Built a pan-India business, and then exited to Vodafone, attracted Vodafone to come into India.
Right.
And we all know how that's gone.
Yes.
So that's our philosophy. That's how we look at it. That's what we believe is our core strength. And we hope to continue to do that in our other businesses.
So big MNC firms coming into India, and you have created assets which have been sold to these foreign investors. Vodafone has come in, Rosneft has come in. So Prashant, what is your plan for Essar Steel? That has a huge asset, and I'm sure there is going to be a huge amount of interest in that as well.
Yeah. It's, well, firstly, steel is a similar significant investment for us. We have built a 10 million ton steel company. We have invested upwards of 55,000-60,000 crores in the asset. We believe it's a world-class asset. The company did face some headwinds 2 or 3 years ago, primarily because some of the approvals and some of the consents given were suddenly withdrawn, primarily the natural gas and the environment permits which we had. The net result of that was the project got delayed for nearly 2.5 to 3 years, and that led to a significant amount of additional injection of equity which we were required to do, and we overall paid an additional 15,000 crores as interest during that stopped period, which was really for no fault of the company or of the investors in that company. Having said that, now in the last 1 year, things have turned around for the steel industry. Obviously, on top of that, we had the global headwinds, which commodity sector faced last year. We had a significant drop in the steel prices and iron ore raw material prices. And we had the added feature of dumping, which was happening from China. So this all together became a fairly heavy mix for the sector.
Yes.
Thankfully, the things have changed a lot in the last 9 months. Government of India has taken some very proactive steps by introducing MIP and anti-dumping, which has stopped the influx of dumping of Chinese steel. We have most of the issues which we faced in terms of project completion are behind us.
Yes.
The plant is now operating at about 70% of capacity, and in the next 2 quarters we hope to be close to full capacity. So most of the things which were affecting the industry and Essar Steel in specific have been addressed, and we are looking to the banks to we're working with the banks to do
Yes.
a restructuring within the guidelines, whatever is permitted, so that we can move on and continue with the asset.
So you think that S4A guidelines, that those being relaxed, will be in your favor in terms of restructuring Essar Steel's debt?
Well, I don't know finally what the guidelines in terms of relaxation. We've all heard that government and the RBI are re-looking at some of these guidelines because they've not really been that effective in the last few months or in the last 2-3 quarters. We will await to see what comes out, but we are certainly hopeful that we are able to restructure quickly, and we are able to move ahead. Move ahead in the company itself is performing significantly better now than it was last year.
So you're getting so much of funds coming in, which is going to deleverage the overall group by the Rosneft deal. Now, is that some bit of money also going to flow in Essar Steel by way of equity?
Yeah, it's a very good question. The answer is yes. We will, whatever additional equity is required to achieve the restructuring will be set aside. I would also say that the actual money required in Essar Steel is not very much, because the capital investment is largely completed, and the plant's already fully operational and generating very reasonable revenue and margins. So it does not require a huge amount of funds, but at the same time, whatever is required, we will provide it as part of the restructuring.
All right. And are you also looking at some equity participation coming in from some financial investor in the steel business? Because there is a turnaround in the cycle.
Yeah, we at this point we don't need it, because we have
Now you have equity
exactly
funding.
we have done with the monetization which has happened. We have we have the ability to fund this ourselves. So right now the focus is to grow the business, to get it to a level where it is we are able to gain the benefit of all the investments which have been made over the past few years, and then we will see.
All right. So, Prashant, obviously the banking system is also working with the companies which are capital intensive right now, and steel, power, these are some of the sectors which have been on top of their list as far as their exposure is concerned. Are there meeting grounds with the banks? Would you be okay with if they convert some part of the debt into equity and restructure the entire company so that it can be very able and viable going forward?
Well, Nisha, all I can say right now is that there are going to be certain guidelines within which all the companies are going to get restructured. Whatever those guidelines are will be at par for most of the companies which fall under those guidelines. We will follow the guidelines. If those guidelines mean some equity needs to be, some debt needs to be converted to equity, well, then obviously we will have to fall in line with the guidelines. But we are confident that we will be able to find a resolution, and we believe that the assets which we have on the ground, which are now fully performing, are world-class assets, and there's no reason that they can't deliver in the future. Just to give you a similar case, even in the case of Essar Oil, we did face some issues, about a decade ago,
Yes.
when the project was stalled and we went through a delay. But we worked with the bankers, we worked with all our stakeholders, we completed the project.
Okay, and those bankers, the likes of ICICI Bank,